What's up, YouTube? My name's Alex. Welcome back to Nostalgianomics. Today, we have to have a tough discussion. We have to talk about the possibility that the vintage PSA 9, PSA 10 market may never return to its former glory that we've seen in the last 2, 3, 4 years. And I know, it's a super unpopular opinion. I've already been trashed for it when trying to mention it on the online Pokemon forums. I have like lists of people telling me that, I'm an idiot, I don't know what I'm talking about, do your research, bro, you haven't been around long enough, blah, 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 blah. Some of these guys, honestly, you would think I went to their high school and I walked in on the first day and I stole their lunch money and beat them up. And so the next day they like brown bagged it and I still walked over to them and I smashed their PB&J into the table and I crinkled their chips up into their hair and then I walked away eating their chocolate chip cookie. That's what you would think I did to some of these guys. And literally all I did was just give my opinion, give the research I'd done, talk about my experience in markets and what I see happening. And they went all out on me. Some of them even posted videos from like SM Pratt or Jake from Pokenomics, and the videos were basically telling me I was exactly wrong. They were telling me that, the vintage PSA 9, PSA 10 market is the safe market, the modern sealed is super risky, and it's not going to do what everyone thinks it's going to do in the future because everyone's going to own it. And that's basically the equivalent of you walk into the next lunch table and you pay in like the star senior linebacker to come beat me up and take your lunch money back. Like, if you go get just a bigger YouTuber with, more followers, or you go get someone with a bigger collection than I have to tell me I'm wrong so you can feel better about your stance and what you own, hey, that's great. I hope that works for you. But, you can even leave in my comment section and tell me how dumb of an idiot I am again. I don't care. I just want to give anyone out there who wants to listen some advice on what I see happening in the market based on my experience and my research, and you can take it for whatever you want. But I'm going to jump over to my computer now. I'm going to show you what I mean by what a dividend style stock is and what a growth stock is and how I see Pokemon vintage PSA 10, PSA 9 cards turning into those dividend style investments and less into that growth style investment. So let's jump over there now. Okay, so here we are at the computer. Before I jump into it, I want to talk about what a growth stock is compared to what a dividend stock is for anyone out there who doesn't know or isn't familiar with the markets. So basically, a dividend stock is anything that's like a steady company, things like Colgate-Palmolive, things like Hungry Jack Smuckers, things like Verizon Wireless, these type of companies that no matter how the economy's doing, their products are still going to need to be bought, all right? Their services are still going to be used, and their sales are still going to stay pretty consistent. So no matter if it's an up market or a down market, you're not going to, gain crazy amounts of money, but you're not going to lose too much money either. And what those companies do, because you're not going to, have the chance to grow these insane amounts of money, is they pay you to own the stock. So they may pay you a 5% dividend just to own the stock. So that means if you have $10,000 in that company, they're going to give you $500 a year just to have your money there. Even no matter if the stock goes up or down, they're going to give you $500 period. Okay, so the difference between that and a growth stock is the growth stock, they save all that money. They don't pay out dividends, okay? They use the money from their investors to grow the company on research and development, taking more risky plays and taking chances to, kind of take share away from those bigger companies and grow in the space they're in. So I'm going to show you some charts on what a growth stock looks like compared to what a dividend stock looks like. And I'm going to tie that into what I see in the vintage PSA market and modern sealed markets. And then you can let me know in the comment section, what you think about it. So basically, here's AMD, okay? They're a company that's competing with Intel, kind of the more established computer chip company. I'm sure you've seen both these companies in your computers that you buy unless you own Apple products. But all right, so AMD here, 5 years ago, they were about a $13, $14 stock. They ran all the way up to $164 last year. Okay, so that's about 10 times your money gained in 5 years. That's what a growth stock looks like. Let's look at Amazon. Okay, another growth stock. It was $833 a share. Ran all the way up to in the high 3,000s. This is what a growth stock chart looks like. Let's look at one more. Look at Netflix. Okay. Netflix was all the way down at 138 a share 5 years ago, ran all the way up to 700. Now look, it's been getting crushed lately. Had some bad news. They've been raising prices, things like that, but it ran all the way up to 700. So this is an idea of what a growth stock chart looks like. All right. Now let's look at dividend style charts. All right, because all of these companies, they don't pay you to own them. Okay, you don't get a dime whether it goes up or down. You can hold it for 5 years. You don't get paid a dime from the company. All right. Now let's look at a company like Colgate-Palmolive. Right. Look at their chart, all right? This is over 5 years. It stays pretty steady. Never really drops below the 50s, never really gets above the 80s, okay? It stays right in that sweet spot, that nice range. You're never worried about losing all your money, but you're never really going to gain tons of money. But for that, they're going to pay you a dividend every single year to own the stock. Let's look at another one. Intel, the computer chip company that AMD competes with. Same way. In their real lows, they were down in the 30s, highs, they're up in the 60s, but, kind of stays in that range over the course of 5 years. Here's Verizon Wireless, same type of thing. Gets in the 40s, gets in the 60s, but stays in that 50 range usually pretty often. So these companies, they don't move a whole lot. You won't ever worry about losing all your money, but you're not going to usually gain too much money. You're basically going to make your money on your dividends. This is where a lot of the big money, the billionaires, park their money is in these type of assets because they just want something safe where they're constantly going to get paid every single 3 months, every single year. And this is the problem I see happening with the Pokemon market is the vintage PSA 9, PSA 10 cards seem to be turning into dividend-style stocks. And they're kind of getting to that point where they're not going to see those crazy intense moves over time. Kind of when the market goes crazy, they're not going to go crazy with it. They're not going to be those super speculative plays anymore. Whereas when the market drops, you're not going to lose all your money holding the vintage PSA 10. It's going to dip, but it's not going to dip as hard as the more risky type investments like modern PSA cards or modern sealed things like that. The problem is you're not being paid to own those vintage PSA 9, PSA 10 cards like you are being paid to own dividend stocks. So basically it's dead money sitting there. Whereas the modern PSA cards or the modern sealed product, which I like to invest in, they're the growth stocks. This is the modern growth stocks of Pokemon. So what you're going to see with these types of investments is you're going to see the most intense growth. You're going to see booster boxes that are $80 in a year or two be going for $250, $300, $350, $400. You're going to see those 2x, 3x, 4x, 5x moves. Whereas a PSA card, PSA 10 that you buy for 5 or 10 grand, you're not going to see those crazy moves as often going from 20 grand to 30 grand to 40 grand to 50 grand. Okay, you're going to see nice steady moves. Maybe, auctions start ending a little higher. Maybe the market supply kind of gets lower at certain times and the prices move up a couple $1,000s. And then, maybe supply hits the market as the prices start to rise and then the prices go down a little bit. But you never really lose a lot of money. Your money's pretty safe in those investments. The problem is you're not making very good gains in those investments and you're not being paid to own them again. So that's the problem I see with the vintage market. I could be wrong. We could see more spikes, but the problem is that the supply is higher than it's ever been because of the surge from Logan Paul and everyone who had any type of mint PSA or mint raw cards graded them with PSA. And the vintage market is now higher than it's ever been with PSA population. And the demand is actually lower than it was back then because, some people left the hobby that got hurt with losses or, the interest has shifted to modern stuff. There's a lot broader market. There's a lot, more things challenging for each people's wallets to buy. And, so it's a lot harder to get as much money into those cards. Now, if you're looking at like trophy cards, Pikachu Illustrator, these crazy Japanese, only exclusives, those type of things, those are a lot different. Those can have crazy moves. I'm talking about the vintage PSA 9, PSA 10 set cards that they're not rare. Maybe the grade is rare or scarce, but the actual card is not rare itself. So these are the problems you might have if you're investing in these things. Now, again, don't bash me. Or, what? I don't care. If you want to bash me and, call me an idiot in the comment section, do it. I don't mind. It doesn't hurt my feelings. But if you are thinking about investing into Pokemon right now and you're thinking about, vintage PSA versus modern sealed or modern PSA, I hope this video helped you and I hope it gives you a different outlook on what to look for in market shifts when they happen. So hope this video helped. Please subscribe to the channel if you aren't already subscribed. I've noticed my videos are getting tons of views and a lot more views than I'm actually at subscribers. So if you are liking the videos, maybe subscribe to the channel. You might like more of the videos I have in the future. Other than that, my name's Alex. This is Nostalgianomics. I'll be back here with a new video soon. I'm out.